joined us for day one, thank you for being here again. Yesterday we talked about why your work matters. We explored the idea of purpose, of identity, and for some of us, we really feel like this is our calling. And the deeper reason why, the deeper reason behind, you feel called to create what you want to create. So today we're taking the next step because purpose is beautiful. It's inspiring and it can completely change your life. I know it did mine. And eventually, purpose is going to ask something of you. It's going to ask you to grow. And growth is where most people get stuck because growth requires us to release versions of ourselves that no longer fit the future that we're trying to create. It's weird, yeah. And that's what we're talking about today, what growth really demands. But first, I want to lead us all into heart resonance and set the tone for the shift that we will experience today. So get ready, settle into your chair or on the bed that you're sitting in, on the sofa, wherever you happen to be. Just sit back and relax. You can even lay down if you want. I mean, heart resonance, if you've never done it before, is such a simple thing. First, you want to just relax. And what I invite you to do is just slow down your breath. Okay? Just take a deep breath and slow down your breath. Right there, you start to slip into your heart. And I encourage you to even take 3 fingers and just touch where your heart is. And as your breath is slowing down, maybe between 5 or even 6 seconds between the in and the out, just feel your shoulders start to drop. And maybe your jaw drops and your brow releases, that tension between your eyes just drops away. And you can feel gravity pulling you down into the earth. It's fully grounded. And imagine that your breath is actually going out through your heart. Keep breathing. Keep taking those slow breaths on your own. And imagine your breath is going out, turning around, crossing over itself, and coming back in like an infinity sign. Out and in, wherever you are in that process. And I like to think about something that I absolutely love. It could be a partner, a child, person, it could be a pet. Maybe it's your dog. It could be a smell that you love or a food that you love. It literally can be anything. But it's something that the minute you think about it, you just start to smile. It's like even if your eyes are closed, you feel that little twinkle in your eyes. And this brings you into heart resonance. This beautiful space of love and compassion where we create from. And just allow that to fill the room that you're sitting in. Fill the house or the building that you're in. Fill the town or the city the state, or the province. Just visualize it going out past planet Earth, out into the stars, into the galaxies, just filling all of that space with this beautiful love that any of us can do in any given moment. Take a deep breath. Now allow yourself to pull that energy back into the planet, into your state or province, into the room that you're sitting in, into the chair, the place that you are seated. And when you're ready, just roll your shoulders a little bit, roll your neck, and open your eyes. And that, my friend, is heart resonance.
I think that one of the biggest misconceptions in entrepreneurship is that if I have the right strategy, people will come. I've known so many influential people who are just super successful in real life in sticks and bricks businesses in their hometown. But when it comes to the online arena, they think, oh, I just need the right funnel, or I need to learn how to make content, or maybe it's my offer. Maybe I need to recreate my offer and or potentially work on all my back-end systems to make sure that if I build it, they can come. And don't get me wrong, those things do matter. But after years of building online businesses and helping others build online businesses, I've realized something. Adding another strategy or finding a new fresh spin on something you've already done, that's not really going to move you that far. But if you are clear on what problems you solve and who you solve them for, allowing yourself to embody a refreshed sense of purpose and identity will move you miles ahead. You don't have to keep recreating the wheel. You just need to step into your true self. The version of you that got you here may not be the version of you that will get you there. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today. So before we begin, pull out your notebook, turn it to a fresh page, and write this at the top. What if growth isn't asking me to become someone else? What if growth is asking me to become more of myself? Leave space underneath it because we will come back to this later. I want to start with a story. There was a season in my business where I was doing everything that I thought I was supposed to do. I was watching and paying very close attention to what everybody else was doing. And I was following the advice of all the gurus who knew more and, of course, better than I did. Trying to just fit into the mold of what success was supposed to look like for me. I was exhausted. Not just physically exhausted, but like soul exhausted, deep down exhausted. Like the kind of exhaustion that comes from constantly being on and performing. Then something amazing happened that just changed everything for me. So I was on a discovery call with a potential client. She really didn't know me past me showing up in one of her crystal live sales on Instagram and me asking her afterwards if she'd be interested in exchanging crystals for my services because I wanted crystals and I could give my services at the time. At the start of the call, she said something I have never forgotten. After we got our introductions out of the way, she leaned in and she said, I have a message for you. Can I share it? And out of interest, I said, please do. I always want to hear a good message, especially if it's about me, And she said, your grandmother, Cornelia, wants you to know that you will never expand if you keep doing what you think other people want you to do. And then she said, you need to trust your own experience, your own wisdom, your own voice. You already know the answers that your clients seek, but first you have to trust yourself. To tell you I was shocked is an understatement. I was floored, stunned, I tell you. Very few people even knew that my grandmother's name was Cornelia because she went by Connie. I was so skeptical and like, how'd you know this about me? I don't even know how anybody would find that out, that likes, knows, and trusts me in my real friend group. How did she know this, right? Then she said, trust me, your intuition is stronger than you think. Then, questioning herself, she advised me to look outside in the tree. Any skepticism I'd previously had faded when I saw a little robin sitting at eye height in the tree right outside of my window. The robin was always the sign for me that my grandmother was near. And nobody knew that except for me. The call went on as planned. I got a lot of really cool crystals, some of which are behind me now. And her and I worked together for a little while. But that one moment changed my entire business. My response to her was, how? How do I do that? And she said, you have to get into alignment with your highest and best self. In the role that you're in, you're meant to share your gifts. That doesn't mean you have to create them every time. So while that moment changed my business and the way I thought about the work I did with all of my amazing clients, mostly it changed me. It helped me to realize something. I never actually needed to burn myself out trying to become somebody else to obtain success for myself and my clients. I just needed to tap into my natural gifts, lean into my purpose, and stop hiding who I already am behind what I thought everybody wanted me to be. What I learned is that I didn't need to find the right mask to find success. Success really only required that I lived my truth. I'd like you to take a moment to write this down. Success requires my truth. I succeed when I share my gifts with my clients. My gifts enable my clients to succeed. I am my success.
And then I want you to answer this question. Where in your life or business are you trying to become someone else in order to succeed? Write it down. Don't overthink it. Just be honest. Maybe you're copying someone. Maybe you're following a formula that just doesn't fit. Maybe you're suppressing your natural gifts because they don't look like everyone else's. Take 60 seconds and just write.
Now, I want to share a little story with you about when I realized that I was playing small and it wasn't serving anyone. And it actually happened not too long ago. I tended to be that person that was 6 feet from fame, was always right next to the big speaker, always right there helping them with everything that they needed to do, and never really the one up on stage. But here's the thing, people kept handing me the microphone, and I was terrified. I was terrified of public speaking. I had given up job promotions before because I didn't want to have to speak in groups of hundreds of people. And yet it kept coming up and kept coming up. Well, it really came to a head when I realized that my purpose in life was to uplift billions of people. Now, I had spent a decade and a half helping a handful of, well-known spiritual influencers uplift people. And that was great. And I loved it. But then I realized if I really wanted to make a difference in the world, if I really wanted to play big, I needed to be able to help a lot more of these spiritual influencers that were so near and dear to my heart, that really wanted to have a huge impact on the planet and the world. And I knew that that was my gift, was that I understand business and marketing. I could see where they were making this major mistake, and I could help others uplift billions. And so I ended up, leaping. It was very scary. It still is. Like, to get on video right now, I still struggle with it. I'm, believe it or not, an introvert. But I do it because this is not about me. Okay, this is not about Joy Roby stepping through some fear. It's about Joy Roby being on planet Earth for a specific purpose. And in order for me to actually live my calling, I needed to step into my power. I needed to step onto to the stage all by myself. I needed to put the word out for other spiritual influencers that I'm here to help you in the best way that I can. So I took the leap. And what's so fascinating about that is that the fear is always in the beginning. Once you take the leap, you step into this amazing, powerful position. And of course, the next, fear does come up. But you take that leap. Otherwise, you stay in that loop, as Kayla likes to say. You're just looping around, doing the same thing. Einstein says, doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity. Yet we do it all the time because we're afraid to push up against that growth.
One of the concepts that has changed my life the most, especially in the last 6 months, is something I call loop or leap. Every day in our life, we are making one of two choices. We are choosing to repeat the same pattern over and over, loop, or we are becoming someone new and leaping. And here's the truth of that. What you're not changing, you're choosing. I know that that's uncomfortable. It's also incredibly empowering because it means you're not stuck. You have a choice. You get to make that choice. And every single day, you get to make the choice between staying stuck in the loop or taking the leap. Now, let's do an exercise together. Draw a line down the center of your paper, and on one side, write the word loop. On the other, write the word leap. Under loop, write, what pattern have I been repeating? What decision have I been avoiding? What excuse have I been accepting? And on the other side, under leap, write, what action do I know I need to take? What truth do I need to admit? And what version of me is trying to emerge? I'm going to put those questions up on the screen, and I want you to take 2 minutes.
Here's what I've learned. Every meaningful life requires hundreds of uncomfortable decisions, and every meaningful business requires hundreds of uncomfortable decisions. I mean, life is a series of decisions, and growth isn't one giant leap. It's thousands of small acts of courage. And every time you choose alignment over comfort, you move closer to your vision. So let's talk about something that many people struggle with. Receiving. Yes, receiving. Most people think leadership is about giving, and it is. Giving value and supporting people and sharing wisdom and, of course, being of service. But leadership also requires receiving. Receiving opportunities, receiving support from others. You'll need a team. Receiving visibility, receiving abundance, and yes, of course, receiving money. And many purpose-driven people are incredible at giving, but terrible at receiving. Why? Because somewhere along the way, they learned that receiving was selfish and that wanting more, charging your worth and visibility was selfish. And none of this is true. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a selfless expansion to want more, to charge your worth, and to really step into visibility. And this is not a path that just anyone can walk down. You're called to walk this path because you know it's your purpose, and your purpose could change one person's entire trajectory. I've seen this again and again, which in turn can uplift an entire community, an entire planet. And that is where your purpose turned into action changes the world. This is why I believe receiving is not selfish. It's simply a leadership skill. And it's required of you if you're going to grow into the person who stewards your divine mission.
I learned that lesson the hard way. There was a time when I allowed other people to determine my value. Corporate America definitely tried and did for a while. I was undervalued, overworked, and no matter how hard I worked, I kept coming across another ceiling, sometimes ceilings that I never knew to expect. Then life forced me to make a decision. After a near fatal miscarriage caused me to miss a few weeks of work and lose just a few weeks of income, I realized something. When I let others decide my value, a tragic experience that nobody should ever have to endure almost turned into homelessness for me, because my worth was not my own. I had given it to somebody else to decide for me. In that moment, I knew that nobody was coming to tell me that I deserved better, that I was worthy of more, and definitely not going to help me redefine my value. That was my job. And from that moment forward, that near-death experience, when I realized just how precious life was, everything changed. Everything changed for me. I stopped asking, what am I worth? And instead, I started asking, how many people could I serve fully if I just step into my power? That's a very different question. Write this down. Where am I waiting for someone else to validate my value? Take a moment and answer that honestly. Okay, so let's break through a barrier that Joy and I come across for so many of our clients and students. Someone else is already doing what I want to do, so why should I even bother? Guess what? Nobody can fulfill your assignment, okay? Nobody has your story. No one has your experiences. Not another single soul on this planet has your exact perspective or shares your voice. It should come as a relief to know that nobody shares your exact combination of gifts and the perfect recipe of who you are. Now, there may be people out there teaching similar things, but there is nobody else on this planet who can teach them the way you can. If everyone believed the lie that they can't reach for a goal because somebody else has also reached for it, we would only have one doctor, one teacher, and one author. You can apply that to anything out there. There would only be one. The world needs your message the way only you can share it.
That's exactly right. The world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs the version of you that is fully aligned. And the question isn't, is someone else doing it? The question is, am I willing to do it my way, standing in my truth and my power? Grab your pen and paper and write down this sentence. The leap I am committing to is, and fill in the blank. Seriously, write that thing that you've been avoiding, or that thing that scares you. Maybe it's the microphone for you as well. Write the thing that you know in your heart is next. Remember, loop or leap, you get to choose. So here's what I know. Awareness is powerful, but awareness alone doesn't create change. Implementation creates change. Integration creates change. Consistency creates change. I like to say ideas are the easy part, but ideas don't necessarily create change. And that's exactly why we created Conscious Creator Circle. It's not a container where we just share information. It's a place, a circle, where you can dig deep and fully integrate what you already know to be true. Because the truth is, you do not have to do your business in a vacuum. You do not have to do it alone. It's as easy as Conscious Creator Circle.
Yes, CCC is for the person who knows something needs to change. They feel it and they're ready. CCC is for the person who is done collecting information and courses and programs and groups online. CCC is for the person who is done looping and they're ready to leap. That can look like being the person who's ready to take all the things that you've learned, all of your expertise and your education and your experience, and start applying it. Because clarity without action just causes frustration. And action without alignment causes burnout. Conscious Creator Circle exists to bridge the gap between the two. Clarity and alignment, that is. And if that feels like your next step, I'd love to welcome you.
So next week, we're talking about leadership. Not titles or status, but real, actual, lived and earned leadership. One of my favorite topics. Because eventually, every vision asks the question, who's going to carry this? Who's going to steward it? Who's going to lead it? And next week, we're going to answer that question together.
I want to take a moment before we leave to thank you for being here with us today. And thank you for doing the work that you do, that only you can do, the way that you do it. We'll see you next week for day 3 of the Aligned Leadership Series, Leading What You're Meant to Build.